Shakur would like to be next, as he called out Devin Haney, Mr. They say everything but let's fight. Someone said let's fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'll leave that video to play right now.
Me and Devin been in the ring with each other for years. I always got the best of Devin. Tell him, come on.
All right, there it is. Shakur.
And he seemed very serious about that, you know.
Yeah. Facial expression told it all, right?
Yeah, and it looks like because of the history, and Shakur has been, I would say, when he calls out opponents, it seems Devin Haney seems to be at the forefront of the hit list, at least recently. So it seems like, and it probably makes sense, right? Because Haney about to fight Loma. Loma's on the top rank. Haney has done work with, you know, Bob Arum on the back end from a business standpoint. So that's more likely the fight that can get made, right?
Yeah.
I like the fact that he did throw in there, like, you know, I've sparred for Devin Haney in the past, and I always got the best of him. So it's kind of like he kind of throwing that out there, like, yo, you know what it is, right? And I've seen the sparring footages. If you guys haven't seen the sparring footages, definitely go and take a look. I think they were pretty close.
Right? So now about that was one, but the way he said it, I got the impression that they've sparred more times.
Yes.
I would like to hear what Devin said, because it can be opinionated, right? Because there was no judges reffing this. You could easily think that you won, and I could easily think that I won, right?
Absolutely.
I would love to hear Devin's opinion. Now, let me ask you about this, though. Devin's a big tweeter. I don't hold people by I don't think they need to tweet or not, but generally Devin's watching fights. He's giving his opinion. I was a bit shocked that he didn't say anything on Twitter last night. Now, like I said, in my opinion, I'm not going to say, oh, you're scared or anything because you didn't tweet, but I was a bit surprised by it. How did you feel about it?
I think that's a very good question, right? Because this goes back to even how Devin typically responds to Shakur compared to other fighters, whether it's Tank. It seems like there's less animosity or energy towards Shakur than some of the other fighters. And I think it's because they have a good relationship, or they've had a good relationship in the past, right? They've hung out together, they've traveled together, boxed even in the amateur scene. Of course, Shakur his name was more well-renowned compared to Devin Haney, right? And he's older, right? Than Devin Haney. But nevertheless, I do, for someone that tweets a lot, for you not to necessarily respond on Twitter, I get it. Maybe he was doing something, but this is not the first time, right? We've seen even times where Shakur even tweets at Devin Haney, or he's made comments and interviews that, you know, about Devin Haney, and Devin Haney wasn't quick to respond, right? They have a video where Bill Haney, Devin Haney's father, actually responds to Shakur Stevenson, and they get on FaceTime and they argue.
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, Devin Haney chimes in. And there's a point in that video where Devin Haney kind of reveals something about the two of them, right? In the sense that from what I took from it was like, hey, you know, you want to fight me, and then you're allowing people like Keyshawn Davis to talk shit about me. We have a good relationship. You should nip that in the bud, because that's your man. And on top of that, you keep calling me out as if, like, you know, like I'm target number one. That was the feel that I was kind of getting from Devin Haney. And Shakur was saying, like, hey, I'm not saying, you know, you're a trash boxer, I'm calling you out for this reason. I'm just saying you got the belts and I want to fight you, and I feel like I can beat you. No hard feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if Devin Haney kind of views Shakur still as a friend, and that's probably why he don't want to go full throttle. Right, but because he's not scared of Shakur Stevenson, I don't believe that to be.
I don't think so either.
But I think that might play a role. It's kind of like the situation with Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford.
Right.
Terrence Crawford was not really eager to take that fight with Sean Porter because of a relationship with Sean Porter, right?
Yeah.
Or, for instance, with Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence, where Errol Spence, I'll fight anyone, and Jermell's like, nah, I don't want to. That's like my brother. You get what I mean?
This situation's a little bit more complicated, because I wonder how it would work with the same trainer. That's very that's very confusing to
that's
me.
A whole other, that's what I'm also thinking about too.
But but to your point though, and I wonder if Shakur needed to do this as a chess move to like build some of the animosity, because I think like what you're saying about Devin is probably true, right? Let's say, for example, let's say you and me had to have a fight, right? I would probably expect that we know each other, we got each other's numbers, come holler at me and say, listen, this needs to get done.
Right.
We're going to go talk to whoever, needs to put the numbers and business in place. So I'm wondering if Devin's looking at it like there's really no need, because we speak all the time. We're probably friends. So there's no need to do this, because if we sit down and talk, we could sit down and talk. So I wonder if it's that. And
yeah, actually, Devin mentioned that too. He threw that in there, like, yo, you could have, just hit me up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
as a means to, like, yo, I guess he felt some type of way about him just kind of throwing it out there.
Yeah, and I wonder if Shakur is like, okay, but I gotta like put this chip on my shoulder, put it out there, like, so I'm gonna do it in front of everybody.
Yeah,
that's gonna be embarrassing to him. Then he's gonna have to make his move back.
Right.
But and listen, I completely support it because I want to see the fight. What I don't like though is like guys like Tim Bradley acting like Devin did something wrong. I mean, Devin has a fight scheduled, right?
Right.
So it's like he's obviously not going to fight Shakur next. He has to fight Lomachenko first,
right?
Then see what happens from there. But they were acting like, yeah, guys are not going to want to fight Shakur, like they're just going to move. I just feel like Tim Bradley had a similar sentiment, like when Crawford beat Porter. He's like, yeah, everyone just moved up to 154. I feel like that's that. Of course, and he's top rank, right? So he has to promote his guy, right? He has to help. But I just feel like we know that's not true. I think Devin will fight Shakur until proven wrong.
100%.
But I sent you a video earlier. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. It was Jermaine Ortiz. Did you see Jermaine Ortiz?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen Jermaine Ortiz. I'm gonna link that in this video now.
How do you grade the performance, man?
It was a great performance by Shakur. He was very sharp, very clean punches, and great performance.
Without you giving up too much, do you see some things that you can capitalize on in a potential fight?
Today I've seen a lot more. I want the fight. Hopefully by the end of the year we get it on.
As you guys can tell, he seems pretty eager. In a respectful manner. He understands Shakur is very skilled. He's a very skilled fighter.
Yeah.
But according to him, he felt like he's seen some holes in Shakur's fighting style that he can capitalize on. What do you think if that fight was to go down? How do you feel like that fight will go?
I'm likely
and how
I'm likely to favor Shakur, like without much thought, over everyone except maybe like Tank and Haney, right? Like without like having to like break it down too much. I'm not saying he can't beat those two guys, but I would have to probably take a step back, think, kind of like assess some things. So I would probably favor him over everyone else. Jermaine Ortiz, though, what I like about Jermaine Ortiz is his physicality and how you can kind of make a fight ugly. It's not going to be that pretty fight that you want. And a lot of times, that makes it harder. Like I think of Ricky Hatton, Floyd Mayweather, right? Ricky Hatton couldn't box with Floyd Mayweather, but it took Floyd a while to figure it out because Ricky kept making it an ugly fight.
Yep.
I don't want to necessarily say a dirty fight, but borderline. And I just think Jermaine being a real strong guy, he looks big, I think on a previous video, I likened his stature to like a Teofimo Lopez at 135. He looks like a big guy. So, could he get in there and kind of like rough Shakur up and just make it not an easy fight like last night was? Possibly. I would love to see it. He said, maybe Yoshino was just on the list before they got to him because he said he didn't actually receive a call to fight or anything because he would have accepted. I actually believe him as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's a very good stay busy fight because Devin fighting Lomachenko, Tank fighting Ryan. I don't know when they're going to fight again after that, right? Even though Tank and Ryan is in 2 weeks. So, but I think both of those fights are harder fights than the fight that Shakur had last night. And sometimes when you take harder fights, you need more recovery time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just natural. So I think Jermaine Ortiz is a pretty good stay busy fight, and maybe Shakur should actually look into that one.
Yeah, I would 100% agree, especially from the performance we've seen from Shakur Stevenson and Yoshino last night. I can see why Shakur Stevenson didn't extend an invite to fight Jermaine Ortiz, right? Especially with Yoshino kind of building that buzz, beating Nakatani, right? He felt as though, let me just take this quick fight, beat this guy, right? You just lost to Loma, right? We need you to kind of build yourself up in a sense. So, but moving forward, if you don't get that Devin Haney or the winner between Loma, Haney, winner between Ryan, Tank, then Ortiz is definitely the next best option, in my honest opinion.
And speaking on size, as I just mentioned, Ortiz size, what about this with Devin Haney? Because we know his size has been in the press a lot recently with the whole ballooning up 24 pounds during rehydration. So apparently, and he said it before, and I think we've seen it on the scale in one of the Kambosos fights, like 135 is kind of hard for him to make, right? He's been there for some time now. He's considered a big 135.
Right.
So what if he can't make it no more and he's forced to move up? Would that be disappointing in the sense of not necessarily a duck, but like Devin, you needed to gut it out for this fight, or would you, if his body really can't do it, would you accept that?
Personally, me, I would accept it, right? As a rational human being, if a fighter can't make a certain weight for an extended period of time and their body's just telling them, hey, I just can't make the weight, it's time to move up. We've seen fighters get ill, right? Virgil Ortiz Jr., right? Trying to make weight. In the sport of boxing, your health takes precedence over anything, right? That's the only way you continue fighting and winning fights. So I wouldn't feel, disappointed. Now, of course, the fan in me will probably be like, it sucks to a degree. So there's some form of disappointment in not seeing the fight happen, but it's not necessarily pinned towards Devin Haney, right? It's fully understandable and justifiable. So
right, I don't want to like play promoter here or anything, but I think they're 24 and 25, so they could easily still meet at 140, right?
Right.
But I want to see it now. I don't really want to wait, but if Devin has to compromise his body in terms of making that fight, then I don't know, because if I'm not going to see the best version of each of them,
right,
I'm not going to be as happy with the fight. But I do hope Devin feels good at this Lomachenko fight. I hope he says, hey, I got more time at 135. I want to try to fight Shakur. I want to fight Tank because I want to see it as well. Shakur didn't make any mention of Tank last night, but did anything you see last night make you more confident in Shakur beating a Tank Davis?
To be honest,
absolutely not. Not me. Certainly not I.
No. Right? No. Because, and we'll probably get into it as this episode kind of go along, there's certain tactics that Shakur employed during that fight that Tank does. Right. And I feel like when there's two southpaws kind of fighting, you give up that advantage of a southpaw versus orthodox, right? And we know those hands of thunder, right? That's gonna be the difference maker, right? Yeah. So you have a fighter that's very skilled, who has exceptional power, hawking you down and employing the same techniques you do. Yeah, you might have better timing, right? And somewhat better defense to a degree, but it's not like you're blowing this guy out the water, right? So
I see that as well. I was still right now, like nothing changed. Everything I thought before this fight is everything I think after the fight as well, right? It's not really the topic, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but he definitely called out Devin. I was wondering if he was going to say anything about Tank as well, but I guess the focus is there. It's more realistic here, so let me kind of keep my eye on this fight, which makes all the sense in the world.